Hello, everybody. Wow. My name is Vagn Neilson, and I'm the corporate chef and one of the owners or partners of Proof of the Pudding. And this is Joe Douglas, who's our executive chef down here at Douglasville Convention Center.
How is everyone today?
And I'm sure you are excited to get out of the heat for an hour's time here. Okay, that's good. All right. Just so you know, feel free to go and get some more beverage up there and whatever you want up there. And then later we will feed you some samplers of what we're going to be talking about up here. But what I want to do, I want to kind of take you a little behind the scene of what happens in a kitchen, how to be the perfect host at your private house or wherever you may want to host an event, and give you some of the tricks of the trade that we day in and day out do in our kitchen. And a lot of times when I talk to people, they say, well, how do you do that? How can I do the same thing? And of course, we don't want to show you everything so we don't have any business, but we want to show you enough so you can figure out the rest, okay? I have a little my accent is not perfect. That's because I'm not from this country, but a little quick background about myself. I came here exactly 40 years ago this year to Atlanta, and have been here in the city ever since. I never wanted to leave. I was really only supposed to be here for 18 months, but I liked the weather so much. But what I liked most about this area was really the people. And I really mean that. I think this is a wonderful part of the country to be in. People are always very friendly, and of course, the weather is perfect. I'm from Denmark, and those of you who know where that is or who don't know where it is, it's a little tiny country all the way up in the northern side of Europe where it's really cold, and where a nice warm summer is when it's an average 72 degrees. So I liked it so much here that I decided to stay. And during all those years, I have been very much involved with restaurants in Atlanta. I was the executive chef for a restaurant when I came called the Midnight Sun. At that time, it was probably one of the finer restaurants in the city, and I've done a few other things. But for the last 30 years, I've been with Proof of the Pudding. And those of you who don't know Proof of the Pudding, I just want to give you a little quick background about our company. We started out a little over, almost, I think, 35, 37 years ago as a little takeout and deli shop on the corner of 10th Street and Piedmont. And it was started by two ladies, and they had that great idea to call it Proof of the Pudding. The proof is in the pudding. And people keep asking us, do you do pudding? Yes, we do pudding, but we do a lot of other things than pudding, of course. But over the years, we have grown the business, and today, I really say, and this is true, there's not a single thing in the hospitality business that we don't touch. We manage convention centers, this being one of them. We manage Jordan International Convention Center, the Gwinnett Center, the Gwinnett Arena. We do catering. We manage some restaurants in South Carolina. We are in the airport with some fast food. We do concession. We do fine dining, seafood. So we basically touch everything. And I think that's a little unique. And of course, in my personal experience, that has been an exciting ride to be part of so many parts of our industry. Usually, as chef, will only be either in a fine dining, in a fine restaurant, or he may be in a banquet situation. But I have really had the ability to see in so many different sides of our industry. In addition to that, I'm also a certified professional waiter, so I know the front of the house. And so I actually enjoy both sides of what they call the fence. There's a fence between the kitchen and the front of the house. It's kind of an invisible fence, but everybody knows exactly where it is in a professional environment. But I have really enjoyed that, and because of that, I really have the ability sometimes to see an event or a function or anything from two sides and be able to see not just the cooking side, but how does it work when you come out to the front of the house, or to the front of the house, or to our dining room at our house. So I want to share some of that knowledge with you. There is no, this is not a big thing. I mean, I'm not a big famous TV star. I don't have my own cooking show. So we haven't practiced this. This is really not true because we practiced just before you came in. That's why you couldn't get in exactly on time. We need that 2 minutes practice. So we are not professional, but we will make sure that you get as much out of it, and there's no secret in this industry. We always say there's no secret to cooking a chicken, you know, we all know how to do that, and we'll share those secrets with you. So Aiki, that's my little controller over there. And she has, we are very technical here, so I hope you can see that. And I'm going to do a little check to her. That means she had to stroll the screen over there. But I said I'm not a big TV star. I'm not. I wish I was. But I will share with you, 2 years ago, I had the great honor, because Proof of the Pudding has a little partnership with Wolfgang Puck out in California. And I had the great honor to be part of the Oscar experience. So I had that great honor to be out there in Hollywood and work with Wolfgang and his team for a whole week, how they put on the governor's ball. And I know if you keep up with the Oscars, you see Wolfgang is up and down and all that stuff. And if we will stroll a little longer, we will get up to see Wolfgang. And this is my, you go down a little, you're too far up, you're too far up, you're too far up. Let's go down, let's go down. Here he is, you see? See? This is when you got it made, okay? This is when you got it made. Let me tell you a little about this guy. He's a great guy. Very interesting. Him and I came to America at the same time. He came in the mid-70s, so did I. He ended up in Los Angeles. I ended up in Atlanta. Basically have the same background. We formally trained, you know, him in a nice school in Switzerland or in wherever he's from, and me in a very nice school in Denmark or Copenhagen. He landed over in California, I landed here. And he became a chef, I became a chef. Very young, full of energy, full of excitement. And at that time, I will share with you, this was an exciting place to come for a young chef. Because in this country, compared to Europe, or other parts of the world, here we can do anything we want sometimes. You know, we don't, you know, we are not so, you cannot do that because that's how we have done it for the last 50 or 100 years. You cannot put the chicken over there. So here we had a lot of freedom. So for a long time we had a lot of chefs like myself and Wolfgang come in, and a lot of other chefs to be chefs here and create what I think is one of the greatest areas to be cooking in the world. Because here it's a melting pot for chefs from all over the world. So because of that, we have a lot of wonderful things going on here. But what I like the most is we can do almost anything we want. So what Wolfgang did, he was very, very smart. One day, he put a little chicken on a pizza. And we know the rest of the story. He became famous for his pizza and his chicken. And from that point on, it just rolled, okay? So this is what we say, because I know him a little private. There's really not a lot of big difference between Wolfgang and myself. But this is the difference, okay? When he do something like this, he touched nothing. It's all set up for him. I was in here early this morning together with the crowd. I was lifting up tables and putting all that stuff together. So that's one difference, okay? We had to do our own labor here. Number two, when Wolfgang, he travels around in a Learjet. When I travel around in my beat-up Jeep, okay? He makes a lot more money than me, but I'm happy because I'm here, and he's happy where he is. And that's the only difference, really. I'll be honest with you, there's no big difference. And I learned that when I did the Oscars. Basically, it's the same. I'm not trying to brag about myself. I'm not trying to brag about Wolfgang. But I think a lot of chefs are really the same. There's, you know, what I like about our industry is that we can share things, we can share ideas, and that's what life is sometimes all about. So with all that said, let's kind of start into some of this stuff. So, like I said, there was no script, we haven't practiced this, but if we entertain at our house, our own home, it's always the first thing is to set the table. And what I did, I came up with some different fun ways that, and I'm going to go a little in detail about that, about setting some tables. But there's some basic things that's always very, very important when we set a table. Because just like we say we eat with our eyes, and the first impression is always the most important one, when you come up to a table, there is some basic things to set a table which I want to share with you, which is very important because a lot of people don't think about that. And that is that the first thing you always put on the table is if you have a plate like that, your place setting. And the key is that if you set a square table, the edge of that thing has to follow that one over there, and the edge of this thing has to be right here. So it's all about being perfect. And I really mean that, being perfect. So if you put your glass on, this glass has to follow that glass, which we don't have here. Somebody took it. You took it, Joe?
No, I didn't take it.
No, you didn't take it. Okay, somebody took it, you know. But that glass has to follow that glass. And the same thing with all the silverware has to be straight, you know. So it's very important when you set a table at home that you take the time to do it right and go around and position your plate perfect. And what you do is you kind of use the plates to help you get everything straight. Because when the people sit down, if the table is just perfect, you may not think about it, they may not think about it, but you can definitely see a difference between a fork that's not straight, or when if it's like a little up and down, you know, if it's not straight. Then already from that point on, we got a little problem going on here. And what happens? The food may not taste that good because the table is not set that good. So that's very important, that the table setting is kind of perfect, and it's all about, if there's two plates across each other, that people kind of look each other almost straight in the eyes based on where the plate is. So that's some of the small tricks there is. Some of the things we did here, just had some fun with it, was that a lot of people don't think about something like this in their kitchen. I mean, think about this, a little stainless steel table like this cost a couple of $100. You can and put some wheels on, and suddenly you have a little table that can be used for a lot of different things. But in this case, we created like a little kitchen table setting. And one of the things that is very in today is all this disposable stuff which we use in our business. Like this one, for example, we could have put a little sandwich in here, a little potato chips, so that could have been a little thing going on there. In here, there could have been a little salad, for example, and you eat that with a little disposable fork. There could have been a little dessert on here. And then we did a little clever thing here. You know, sometimes you want to know where people are sitting. So this is a little thing like that. Boom, here. Vagn is going to sit right there. Or Peter, or Paul, or Mary, whoever's going to sit there. But basically what I want to show you here is like, you know, you can just be creative. A lot of times you may actually have something at your house that you can use in a way you never really thought about it. And I'll show you that a little later as well. But this is just one way of taking something that can be used for a lot of different things. And a lot of times people think that's a fun way of having a table. A table like this can also be used for, let's say if you have like a little cocktail party, or you have a little buffet type thing in your kitchen, or wherever you want to do it, you can put all that food up on here. And the good thing is you don't have to worry about it getting burned or all this kind of stuff. And you can, what we call, give it the chefy look, you know, and you got that right here. Down here on the round table, we just did another little thing. But again, if you look at the plate, there's a lot of stuff going on the plate. And I'm just going to jump down without breaking my leg. But let me share something with you. When you put a plate on a table, right? Let's say if you have some decoration on the plate like you have here, you have to find some piece of that decoration, and now all the decoration has to be pointed at the same direction. For example, I figured out that this was going to be my point, so I put that here, and they're all like that, versus like this and all that stuff. So when people sit down, they can kind of, oh, look at that, this host really have their stuff together here. So if there is anything on a plate that has some kind of design, and it's all the same kind of design, all the design on the plate should always be going the same way, and you decide that, you know, the guests don't know that, but that's another little important thing to always think about when you put some plate on. If you have the plate on ahead of time, of course, like we do here, use it as a base plate. But even if you plate your food, and if there is some design on your plate, you should always think about that. So, and also another thing you should also think about, let's say if you have guests come up to you and you just have a big stack of plates, right? Make sure all the plates are the same way, you know, even when you stack them, right? So when people take them, it looks the same. That's one of the small keys to be the perfect host. Okay. So on the table, a lot of times we also want to put some flowers and all this kind of funny stuff. So what I did, I want to show you, and you may know some of this stuff, or you may not, and that's okay. But this is an interesting little thing. This called, what are they called? You know that, Ike? Water bees. Water bees, yeah. And those you can buy in the flower shop, and they're a little tiny one. Of course, I didn't get the dry ones, but basically you just put them in water, and the more water you put on, the bigger they get. And this is a great thing for kids to play with. I know that. My grandkids, they have the biggest ball with those thing here. They love them, and they like them. The only problem I have is I said don't eat them because they don't taste good. But that's fun. Okay. So what I want to show you is there's a lot of different ways to do this stuff here. But you know, in today's world, it's a lot of things is really all about colors and lights and things like that. I just came back. Once a year, we go to Las Vegas. There's a convention out there for caterers and bars and restaurants. And I was out there, it was in February and March, I can't remember when it was. And it was all about colors and lights and things like that. So if you can put a little lights into things like that, then people are happy and they will have a good time with it. But see, and some of you probably know how to do this, but if you don't, now you see how to do it, okay? But you just put those things in here, and you can put different colors in. Oh, they see. So I said, don't play with them. They go all over. But you can put different colors in. Another thing you also can do, you can also, in something like this, you can just put lemons or limes and things like that, and then you can fill it up with your water, and then you can stick your flowers in, okay? There you go. So if you did that, for example, you could put lemons and limes in here. You could put some herbs in, and you suddenly create an interesting look around here. And then you can also, if you really want to go a little on the wild side, if I can get it to work, and Ike promised me it worked, and it does work, you can kind of put some of those lights in, and now you got a little exciting thing going on, and we can put our flowers in, and you know, and this is of course not like the flower man, but I'm just showing some techniques, and it's all about being creative, and you can just do all funny things. And so if, let's say if you're at your house and you dim the lights at your house, and now you have a little light on your table like that. Here's all different kind of bottles, you know, and I mean, does anybody know what this is? Hey, Joe? Okay. Maybe. It's called Hop Dang Digiti. What in the world is that? Indian Pale Ale. But anyway, this is a great way, you know, to basically, you can put flowers in there too. Why not, you know? And you know, just a little thing like that. Here you go. And sometimes, think about it, it's really very expensive to make those expensive flower arrangements. You go down, you know, I mean, you don't get much of that for $30, you know. So don't be afraid to just be a little creative. Maybe if you have a little barbecue one day at your house, why not put all the flowers in a little, and if you are not into drinking beer, put them in some Coca-Cola bottles or Pepsi bottles, whatever brand you prefer. You know, it doesn't really matter. As long as you just, you know, life don't have to be so complicated, and you can put it in wonderful whiskey bottles if that's what you're into. But I mean, anything like that to just make a little interesting table. We're gonna, here's another little thing, little bottle like that, and we can put a little herb in there, and just do like that. And I'm sure you have seen that somewhere. Just fold them in there, and then they can go straight on our little table over there if you like that. There you go. There you go. Stay right there. Okay? But, you know, just put your herbs on the table, and here you go. You take a little more to get them all the way down. But little thing like that, and you got a little thing going on there, of course. Hopefully you'll grow some fresh herbs in your backyard. Some of the things that we work with is like small rocks like that. You know, you can put them in here. Now, you can also, sometimes to play a little fun, you can put it straight on the table. Don't be afraid of that. You know, like that. You can do that on a table like this. There you go. And now you can go and buy one of those small things here. Like that. And you can place that one on the table. Huh? Of course, it's not going to stand straight up, but here we go. Like that. So, but it may need a little help. But don't be afraid to think outside the box, you know. Don't ever be afraid. It's all about having a little fun. You know, there's all different kind of rocks you can use. So we have all this kind of stuff up here. Think about some funny vases like this, you know, probably an IKEA situation. You can put some different color stuff in here, you know, all this kind of, here we go. Look at those beautiful flowers, huh? But anyway, I know you get the idea. Something like that. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. But, you know, it don't take that much to make it work for you. But don't be afraid to, here's another little interesting thing like that. Here you go. So I guess what I'm trying to show you is it don't have to cost an arm and a leg to make a nice table. It's all about not be afraid to be a little creative and just have a little fun with it. Things like that hardly don't cost anything. But so that's what that was all about. The next thing we're going to show you, we're going to clean up a little here. Joe, can you do that? Yep. Start moving all this stuff away except that. Here's some other things while Joe is doing that. Things to put flowers in. Think about something interesting like this. I'm sure there's all different boxes. You put a little oasis in here and you can start putting things in and you'll get a nice little situation going with that. You leave those out. Okay, then create a little room here, Joe. Just move all that stuff away. Yep. This is, you know, the idea of it putting water in here and floating candles. Yeah, so that we know. You could also put lights in here. You can put some rocks in the bottom if you like. I mean, you can do all this funny stuff here. And little water bees. And you got another little thing going on. I mean, this costs nothing, but so things like that. Another thing, you also, you know, you can create some interesting look with different things like this. You know, put some candles in and help you out on your table setting. It don't always have to be this this boring thing here, which we all know about. You know, it can be a little color if you like that. And then the last thing, if he didn't take them away, you can put them away. Use some different color bottles here. You know, all things like that. Everything works. So this is all very, very inexpensive stuff, which can give you the ability to do a very nice table setting. So, does anybody have any questions a little about how to set a table or anything? And this is, like I said, very informal. The more questions, the better off. Yes, ma'am? Who was asking? Oh, that little one was asking. What does he want to know about now? Yes, sir?
What's the correct order for the silverware? Left and right, what goes first, and then next?
What do you mean, the correct order for the silverware?
Yeah.
Well, the knife should always put to the left, right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the knife to the right and the fork to the left.
Okay.
And then, this is the tricky thing. If you really want to set a table where you have the spoon and the fork for desserts, okay, then you will always position the fork against the fork and the spoon against the knife, because that's really how you work with it if you want to be perfect. Okay. Any other questions about the table setting? A couple of things I want to share with you while I remember. Always make sure that you look at your tablecloth, that it's kind of perfect, because if your tablecloth is not even on both sides, all over, then you cannot correct it after you got all your stuff on. And I know I talk actually when and it's a little side story, when I was to do my final exam as a professional waiter, one of those things is to set a table. And I had and part of that was also to do a flower arrangement. And I had practiced all this stuff. And I was so nervous, but it was perfect, beautiful. I was completely done. I got to look at my tablecloth and it wasn't perfect. So I did the biggest mistake of my life. I moved the tablecloth and everything was messed up. But if that was the only mistake I'd done, then it's okay. No big deal. So, all right. Well, let's talk a little about the food. The next thing is the food. Let's pull out the appetizers, Joe. And let's talk about just the whole thing. Put everything out here. We'll walk ourselves through that stuff here. You all have a little menu in front of you, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Now, just pull everything out, Joe, and then I'll talk myself through it. So, you know, sometimes it's very boring to be cooking, and it's very tough to cook on stage that much food. So I decided I just much rather talk a little about it and work myself through some of the techniques and how you can do things. I think you got most of it, Joe. Don't you?
think that's it.
Yeah, what are we missing? Missing
The
something?
soup.
Some glasses, Joe? They're down there. Get all that stuff up, yeah. Anyway, the first thing we did, this is a very little simple 7-layer dip. As you can see, instead of making it in a big bowl, why not put it in a little glass like that, and you can put a little toast down or whatever you think you should do. But this is, I think, a very clever way of doing a 7-layer dip. A little clear glass, you have all the different colors, and then you can put a little fork or a little spoon in, whatever you prefer. And I think people will say, wow, where did you get that idea from? Now, I got that idea from my Facebook page, because somebody posted that, so I picked up on that right away. Okay. The other thing, let me see, the sake cup, Joe, let's talk about that.
Sake cup?
Do you have some spoons?
No.
Yes, you do, right up there behind you. See? Okay, so this is another little thing that's interesting. We all know about a meatball. That can be a pretty boring thing. So in our world, it's all about chalking it up to an arm and a leg so we can charge more money for it. So we came up with a vodka-flavored tomato sauce with a meatball and a fried celery stick. Where's your celery, Joe?
I'll grab that.
Is that here?
Second. Yes.
Yeah. So here is a little tiny sake cup. Okay. And here's a little tomato sauce. Okay. Just put that in the bottom. You put your little meatball in. You put this little thing in here. And instead of put a little fried celery in, and you got a little, put a little green on top here just to make everybody happy like that. Here you go. Okay. But it's going to stay in here, of course. But again, it's about having some small dishes sometimes. They cost hardly nothing, you know, and just create a little thing like that. This is a tomato sauce. Use any recipe you want. Put a little vodka in or whatever kind of liquor you like. But vodka is perfect. Take any meatball, whether you buy it or whether you make it yourself. Put it in here. You can put celery, fry the celery, or not do that. But if you do this little thing here, I think people will say, wow, where did you come up with that wonderful idea from? And I know for a fact they want to eat more than one meatball, not because of the meatball, but because of the vodka in the tomato sauce. The other thing we're going to show, give me a whip up there, Joe, because I think it's a little lumpy.
Whisk.
A whisk from up there, right behind you, up there on the first floor. Yeah, there you go. So this is another little interesting thing. What was that we come up with here?
So, mint and
What is it? We always, when we go to the movie, we always eat popcorn, right? Yeah. So today, popcorn, for some strange reason, has found its way to our culinary scene. And so this is a little green pea soup, okay? And of course, we want to top it with a little popcorn, just to be happy, okay? And we're going to top that with a little paprika. Here you go. So, and then we'll serve that with a spoon, of course. But that's another interesting way to serve a little appetizer. And what I like about that is it's not a hot item, it's a room temp item. So, you know, some of this stuff, when you have guests at your house, you don't have to scramble around last minute. This can be done far ahead of time, and you don't have to worry too much about it. And then the last thing we're going to show you is, and Joe is actually going to do that, right, Joe?
Yep.
Can you show how to make a little Capri skewer? It sounds so fancy, but that's a little mozzarella ball, and that Joe is going to wrap around a basil leaf. Or how are you going to wrap around basil leaf, right? And you're going to put a little cherry tomato on.
So, mozzarella ball, basil leaf,
A little tomato.
cherry or grape tomato.
Yeah.
And skewer just like that.
And then he's gonna line them up.
Yep.
And then we're gonna just a few more, Joe.
Yep.
So he's gonna fill that one up, and then we're gonna drizzle that with a little pesto. Pesto is nothing but basil and garlic oil and some pepper and Parmesan cheese, and it's a very simple thing to do. But basically, just kind of run that down the whole thing, like that. And then, if you want to go real fancy, you can take a little balsamic glaze, which I'm sure you can buy in any store, and just kind of drizzle like that, small things like that. And then, see, Joe is almost done. But you basically end up in a little presentation like that, if you can see that. Okay. I wish we had some of that mirror stuff going on up here. We don't have that, right, Joe?
No.
Okay. So, but anyway, so that's just some ways of prepare some appetizers, and I always think that the key is always to be ready when your guests get there. And all this stuff you can make either early in the morning or in some cases the night before. I mean, like the soup, we made that the night before. The sauce you can make the night before. You can actually make everything the night before, the day before. You don't have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and start cooking up a storm. You need to sleep well and have a good time and be ready when your guests arrive at your house. So you want to clean that up, Joe?
Yep.
And then I'm going to... anybody have any questions about a little appetizer? No? Okay. You want to... Please ask me something. Please ask me something. No, it's okay. No, okay, so... but anyway, that was the little appetizer. And like I said, I think the key is always to find a combination of some few hot items and some few cold items. But let me just make a suggestion. The more cold items you can make, the better off you are, because then you don't have to worry about all that last-minute stuff. Yes, ma'am.
Now, your pea soup, did you do that in like a blender or by
Yeah, again, I am the worst one with recipes. Don't ever ask me for a recipe. I cannot. I'll make up something. But but basically, it's all it is. If you have a nice chicken stock, right, and you can either buy it or you can make it yourself, and you just tighten that up with a little cornstarch, and then you add green pea into it. Don't cook them. Just take them right the way they are. That way they stay bright green. And then you take your blender and just puree them, and then you got that. And then you can add any seasoning to it you like. You know, if you like mint, you can add a little mint. If you like a little, you could. I mean, you just be creative. Like a little lemon, you can add a little lemon. But I mean, things that you may think you like or want to play with or experiment with, you can just add that. So that's. Well, you want to ask something? What you want to ask me? If you don't have a food processor?
Does a blender work instead?
Yeah, of course, a blender works. Actually, a blender is what you should be using. Because a blender, when you want to puree something, you want to use a blender, because the blender, you know, goes much, much faster, has those small knives and do all that crazy stuff there. Where a food processor don't really puree it, that more kind of, it really don't do the same thing. So if you want something that you want really pureed real fine, and if you, let's say if you want to do something where you want to bring the colors out in what you're trying to make, then you really want to use a blender, because the blender has the ability to really puree it and infuse all those colors out to whatever broth you're making. So let's, where's our back chef? You can come on. Let's do the salad here. Let's work a little on the salad here. And we get everything off our little salad. Yep. And our cheese. Is that cheese here too? Yep. Okay. That's all I need, just one. That's the dressing. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Pardon me.
Okay. And then we need a plate. And we need a ramekin. Where's our ramekin? Here we go.
Here. Yep.
Right here. Like that. So I'm gonna...
Cheese.
You can put a little cheese sauce up here. That's fine. There you go. Like that. Just leave it right here. So... let's work ourselves through our little menu here. We got our appetizers going on right now. You already got that. So the next thing is a little salad. I think a salad, you can never go wrong with a salad. And in this case, I just got a lot of different all different type of salads. You know, you can go to the supermarket or a decent supermarket and they have all wonderful things. Frisee, red endive, called yellow rosa, something like that. But again, when you go down that line, the best thing you can do is don't let the supermarket counter decide how your salad is going to be, because you may go in there tomorrow. There's one kind of thing. Oh, I put a little of that stuff in. So this is just a little different amount of salad that we came up with. Now, what I like is when you do something, and when it comes to salad, right? The idea is to bring some height to your plate, and kind of bring it up. So when people is getting that salad, there is really some height to it. So kind of fluff it up a little like that. And then what you need to think about, you see in this case, you can probably see that, I got the green and red. So you want to blend it a little so there's a little going on, so it has a little color like that. So don't always try to mix up and things like that. We're going to add a few tomatoes to that. Just in black. And then, this is what we did here. We came up with this idea of do a cheese dip with our salad, because today a lot of times you can really serve two things on one plate. You could put a little soup in, so soup and salad. So we came up with like a little cheese dip, like a little warm cheese sauce, and then we'll just add a little Tuscan bread or focaccia bread or whatever you came up with. And now you end up with a little salad. We put a little dressing on. Not on the bread, that was a mistake. On the salad. And then, you see, I told you, we had not practiced this. We didn't practice this. This is just happening. This is live TV. And this is what I like, you know. I mean, that's why we do this in an hour. You know, when they do those TV shows, it takes the whole day because they make so many mistakes you don't see. You think those guys know everything? They really don't know everything. They make so many mistakes like what I just did. So, but anyway, but this is an interesting way of making a salad and having a little cheese, a warm cheese sauce. And the cheese sauce is really nothing but a little cream, a little, whatever kind of cheese you like. You could do a blue cheese dip, you could do a Parmesan dip, a Gouda sauce, or whatever you want, and add a little cayenne to it, and you have a nice little dip there together with a dressing. Of course, on a salad today, you can add anything besides tomatoes and I mean, whatever you want. It's all about being creative and not being afraid of I use this word a lot, think outside the box, but I believe that's a big thing of our industry to think outside the box. So that's a little salad, and that's how we will do that. Yeah. Yeah, you can do that. That's fine. We're actually going to place it over here on the buffet. But so, and what we're going to do, what we are working on, right? We are doing that. We're literally going to move this stuff over to the table over there. So when we're all done, you can just kind of go through and grab a little plate. Now, I will say that I had no idea so many people were showing up. And this is the honest truth. When I left home this morning, I asked them, how many tickets have you sold? And I was driving out, had this big ego. They had sold 0, okay? 0 tickets. So I said, wow, this is going to be interesting. So I come out here and we practice and all that stuff. How many tickets have we had? 11. Okay, we're getting there. And now, look at this. Look at this. This is fantastic, right, Joe? Yep. Yeah. So thank you for coming. So maybe Michael can you put that over there? Okay. So the next thing we're going to show is our, you can put everything up here. Yeah. This is our entree. And I had a cutting board here one time. Did you take that from me?
No.
You got one?
Oh, right.
That one I had practiced, a knife and everything. You took my, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're going to do a little chicken for you guys. It's a risotto, a mushroom risotto. And we got a little chicken breast with that. And we got a little carrots. And we have a little broccolini, and then we have what we call a chicken broth. Now, I think when you think about it, it's all about the eyes. We eat with our eyes. And one of the things in today's chefy world, it's all about the plate. So, you know, the bigger the plate look and the smaller the portion is, the more we charge for it. Isn't that a great idea? I mean, you all think it's so expensive. Big plate, small portions, and we can charge more money. But anyway, but I think it is an important thing to, if you have some different plates, things like that. But in this case, we're going to do it in a bowl. So we have here our little chefy counter here. Bring the whole thing out here and move this away, if you don't mind. See, I boss him around all the time. He liked that. Okay, but we're gonna place our little risotto in the middle, and then I'm gonna show you a little trick of the trade here with the chicken. The chicken, I'm going to grab him with my finger. That's okay. In this case, you can see it's like a chicken breast with a little bone on. We're going to slice it like that on an angle. And then we're going to twist it around like that so it jumps up on there. You see? So now we bring a little height to the whole thing. We're going to place that one right there and press it down like that. Then we're going to take our vegetables. Like that. We have a little tongue up here. Did we? Now we have it here. Okay, And we're going to put a little carrot on. In this case, we just leave the carrot whole. And we can take a little more if you like to over here. And a little carrot right here, like that. And then we pour our little, where's our chicken? That's our chicken broth, yeah. Just pour that over, all the way over here. Like that. And then we have, whether you have it or not, or want it, we have a little, called it micro herbs. It's also something you can buy in a fancy store today. Put that right on top, like that. And you have a beautiful little chicken plate here, which maybe we can show around to the guest here. But what I like about food today, sometimes food don't have to be complicated. It can be very, 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 very simple. And I think we sometimes have a tendency to make it sound much more complex than it really, really is. Now, let's talk about that plate. This is how you prepare that when you have your guest coming. The chicken, you cook that ahead of time. Just cook it all the way, almost done. Actually, you can cook it, yeah, you can cook it almost done, and leave it on a little pan. And then the risotto, you can also cook ahead of time. And then what you do, when the risotto is done, you put a little chicken stock on top of the risotto and put a little, cover it up with some aluminum foil or whatever you want. That way they stay moist, and when you get ready to reheat it, it will thin up on you. The vegetables, you can definitely cook much earlier. They don't have to be cooked last minute, so they can also, so you have all those different things ready. So as your guests get ready, when they have their salad or whatever they have, or last minute, you just put it in the oven and you did just like I did there. So it's really not something that you have to, how do I say, that you have to do last minute. You can get all that stuff done very, very early. The chicken you can cook in the morning, the vegetable, everything can be done. Maybe the thing I would not do early on is the risotto. I will do that maybe a little later. It's not something that takes forever to do. So you can put that back up again. Yep. So that's how I would do that. Does anybody have any questions about that little thing? Yes, ma'am?
Where would you find the different colored carrots? I noticed that you were using...
I think you can find them. I know you can find them at Whole Foods, for example, and at stores like that. I know, yeah. You're not going to find them down not always at the local Kroger, but at a little more fancy store you can find that. And again, there is a lot of interesting stuff in those counters.
You want your plate to also look colorful, so it looks appetizing, correct?
Yes, yeah.
You don't want to have it look bland with all the same color.
We put it on.
Beg your pardon?
You don't want it to be bland looking with the same color.
No.
On a plate.
No, you want to. But on the other hand, I also think sometimes you also need to be careful you don't put too much color down, because then it can also. It's really, yeah. But you don't want to have green beans and broccoli and something else. There may be asparagus on the same plate. You want to do a little different things. But you definitely, another thing I like today is that I think that our vegetable, we need to be careful we don't overcook them, of course. And then what I do is I toss them in a little tiny olive oil that gives them a little shine, and it also helps them get a little flavor. And then, like the carrots and things like that, what a lot of people do when they're done cooking them, they will put cold water on. Oh, that's the biggest mistake you can do, because what happens is when you do that, you take all the flavor away, So you're much better off if you cook carrots, just cook them slightly under, take them out of your water, and again, make sure your water is seasoned. It's so important. I mean, if your water don't taste of anything, and if you're cooking 10 carrots and 5 gallons of water, I mean, you ruin everything, flavor. But make sure your water is very well seasoned, whether it's with salt or a little chicken stock. And then when you take them out, spread them out on a flat surface so they can kind of steam off. And that way they will keep all the flavor. And you should try to do that with almost every vegetable. Some vegetables are a little tough to do that with, but if you don't overcook it, you can do the same thing with asparagus. If you just, instead of having them like in a big pile or so, but if you spread it out, it will literally chill down in a matter of no time. And what's going to happen then, that your vegetable is going to keep all the flavor. What people are very bad at, they want it to look nice, so they put some ice water on, and now you ruin all the taste. They don't taste of anything. So that's a very big thing. Any other questions about that? Yes, sir?
I noticed you haven't used any garnishes. Is a rule for using garnishes, do not put anything on the plate you would not eat, nor does not complement the main.
I would never put something on a plate you cannot eat. I think that's a big mistake. I think that what is on a plate is something you should be able to eat, yeah. And if you use like flowers, which is very normal, but a lot of people, it has to be flowers you can eat, or that kind of flowers that's raised for that. But I always say anything you see on a plate, it should be edible. I was at a function, I'm not going to say where, a couple of weeks ago, and they came up with this great idea, which is very modern today, that the centerpiece was the dessert you eat. It was basically Rice Krispie that was painted with chocolate, and then there was some cakes and things like that. And then there was those beautiful chocolate branches, right? That's what I thought. So I said, I ain't going to bite into that thing. So I took it and I broke it apart. So what they had done, they had just go out and take regular branches and dip them in chocolate. It looked very good. But this was a luncheon for, I think it was like 1,100 people. And I would never do anything for that like that, because I would not sleep at night thinking that out of those 1,100, there was definitely 1 or 2 people who would bite into it, and they'll be after me the next day and say, hey, you owe my there's some dental money here, something like that. So again, always something you can eat is very important. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Going back to the appetizers, how many appetizers is the right number, and how many do you cook per guest?
Well, when we have a party for 500 people, which we have almost every day, and they have appetizers like that, we pass them. We say 2.5, no more than 3 per person, small bites. That's all you need, you know. And we do the same formula. You know, today it's very popular to have, they call it small dessert flights or small bite-sized pieces, and we do the same thing there. We average 3 pieces per person when it comes down to that. Of course, you know your customer, or you know your guest. You know if there's somebody coming who eat a lot. So but I mean, to answer your question, that's how we do that. Yeah, 3 per person. Any other questions?
What is your favorite for vegetarians, like a vegetarian entree that you make?
I'll actually show that on a little slide here a little later, but we do so many different things. But what we don't do is just a plate of vegetables, of course. We will come up with different things. But we do a lot of things where we do with portobello mushrooms and put some different grains in between, and grilled vegetables, and a little fancy tomato on top, and maybe a nice smoked tomato sauce. And you've got a nice little vegetarian entree right there. Yeah. Let me ask you that. You told me if you move out of that. No, we don't need the pictures. Not right now. No. But any other questions on that? Yes.
It's not a question.
It's not a question. What is it then?
You said you were from Denmark?
Yes, ma'am.
My sister and I are from Denmark, South Carolina.
Oh yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. And you know what? I know exactly what that is because I go there all the time. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there is a Denmark in South Carolina. Yeah, yeah. Beg your pardon?
Population is about 2,500.
Yeah. But that's that. I know exactly. You know, there's actually a Denmark in almost every state, isn't there? Yeah. You can't get rid of those Danes. They're everywhere. Okay, let's go to the dessert. What happened to the dessert, Joe? Can you pull that out? Yeah, pull all that stuff out without dropping it, can you?
I can.
Let me help you. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay. You get on. Oh, there we go. Here we go. Look at that. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Perfect, Joe. You did great. Okay, leave that. And then give me the, isn't there a square plate here?
Yep.
Here. And where's that? Yeah, here we go.
There you go.
Here we got everything. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually show you, because I love bread pudding. So I'm going to show you some few tricks to that. How to take that leftover bread that we know we all have now and then, and we really don't know what to do with it, and we end up giving it to the ducklings out in the pond. Instead, we could really make a nice dessert out of it. So where's that one? That's one right here.
Oh, sorry.
And there is a whip up here, right? Yeah, there we go. So Joe, go ahead and help me here. Now I need your help.
What you
Do
need?
I don't need your help. I'm fine. I'm actually fine. Okay. So let's talk about bread pudding. You know, that's something that's been around for 100 years now, and it will be around for another 100 years because that's the only way we can get rid of our bread. But I came up with a little, I call it a chocolate Godiva bread pudding raspberry cake. And I think that I don't have a recipe for bread pudding because I think bread pudding is such it's so easy to make. And you can have a dry bread pudding or a wet bread pudding or whatever you want. But it's all, at the end of the day, it's all about the egg and the cream and the sugar and what else you put in there. So I'm just going to show you some few things here which may not work, but it does work. It does work. I know that. So we put a little egg here, okay? Put a little cream. Okay, and I'm going to show you how it really goes on back in the kitchen. You think all those guys know what they're doing. So we got a little cream, a little of this, and we got a little sugar. What happened to the spoons? You got rid of them already?
No.
No? Okay, with a little sugar, okay? Here we go. Here we go. So we just stay with me right now, because this is really how Wolfgang, he works too. I know that. I was out there, and they don't have a recipe for pudding, bread pudding. I know that. So here we go, we got that stuff, that's the main ingredients. And now we go to the bread. And you know, it's all about the bread. We think that we should use this old dry bread. Don't do that. If you want to do a really nice bread pudding for your guest, buy some nice bread, some soft, what's it called, Joe? Come on, brioche bread. Yeah, the brioche bread is the best bread. It's already sweet and it's soft. And that's what you want. So don't say, I got some old bread and all that stuff. Just buy it, because bread is still inexpensive. So you put a little of this in. And the key to a bread pudding is to soak that bread. Okay? So just kind of let the bread soak and really soak up all that flavor. And what you really want to do is make it like, and let it sit like for an hour's time so it can take all that stuff in. So now you can do anything from that point on you like. You can add, in this case, this is just regular little tomato syrup, you know, not tomato. Chocolate. Chocolate. Help me, Joe. It's a little chocolate syrup, right? Put a little chocolate syrup in, like that. Okay? So now it becomes a chocolate bread pudding. And now we put a little raspberries in. And what does it become now? A chocolate raspberry bread pudding. And we can go on and on like that. We put a little more chocolate in here, because we want it to be a really nice chocolate pudding here. So, and there, now we put a little vanilla in. Here we go. There you go. Now, this is where we are. Now we got all that stuff mixed together. And you can see, can you see it's changing a little color here? Oh, you know it is. It is, okay. Gonna go out here, Joe, move over a little. That's okay. Okay, see up there? Here we go. So anyway, so just let it soak in here. Now, this is the time where we say, okay, we wonder how it really tastes. So where were the spoons, Joe?
Right behind you.
Right by me? Okay, here we go. So now, just taste it. And if it tastes sweet enough, then you're fine. If it's not sweet enough, put some more sugar in. Okay? Now, at this stage, if you want to put a little liquor in, put some liquor in. Whatever liquor you like, you know. I mean, this is the time where you're going to have a little fun, you know, and be creative. If you want to put a little mint in, put a little mint in. Put anything in you want to some, you know, you can put some almonds in if you like to do that. So we do a little more almond in here. Now it becomes an almond, raspberry, chocolate bread pudding. Okay? And you got all that stuff going on here. Now, give me that one there, Joe. And he takes up here with that one. So let's do something here to show how we can make that bread pudding work so it looks a little more expensive. Here, put it here. Yep. Okay, so this is nothing but, you know, they come in smaller portions, of course. This is our, what is that, a muffin pan? Right? You can get them that size so they fit into your oven. Okay, this is your muffin pan from here and over, okay?
Right.
This is our muffin pan. You got it, okay. So now you got your bread pudding here. Let's take that down and let's just imagine that it has been sitting for an hour, soaked really good. We take a little, see if I can get this one. Little pan spray in here. Okay. And you put a little, just a ladle up here, we go. And we just put our bread pudding in, which now is not soaked, of course. Do like that. And this is the key. You want it to be kind of a little on the runny side. You want to make sure there's some liquid here. You don't want it to be dry, because if it's dry, the whole thing is going to be dry on you. So don't be afraid to make it a little wet. So you pop it in the oven, and maybe a 350-degree oven for how long time you say, Joe?
About 30 minutes.
31 minutes.
31.
31 minutes, okay?
Sorry.
31 minutes, okay? You want to try again?
31 minutes.
30 minutes. Okay, anyway. No, we got it. Yeah, we got it. But anyway, so put it in the oven, let it chill down a little, and then you can literally take it right out of there. If you can't get it out, what you do then, scrape a little knife around here, and then kind of work yourself under with a spoon or something like that, and you will get it out. But don't take it out as soon as you come out of the oven. It will not come out. Just let it chill down, let it sit in that thing, and then you got the bread pudding. So what we're going to show you now is a little, how do we make that bread pudding look really good? So here we got 1, 2, how many, what do we have here, Joe? Give me a little raspberry, and give me the mint.
Raspberry.
Here we go. Now we're in business, right? There we go. So the mint is right in front of you.
Oh, there it is.
And give me some few flowers. There you go. There you go. See all the stuff we got here? So we got our little bread pudding on here. We're going to put a little whipped cream on top of that one. Okay? And then we got a little raspberry sauce, which I know you can get. And you can do a couple of things. We can put some few dots on here. 1, 2, 3. Right? Now we're going to make it really interesting. We're going to put a little red potato chip in here. And we got the part of the dust here. We're going to put a little mint on top. And we're going to put a little raspberry on here. And we're going to put a little powder sugar on top. And then we will serve that with a little bourbon ice cream, or vanilla ice cream, or raspberry sorbet, or whatever you want. But basically, this was that little simple bread pudding. And this is a little potato chip. You could use a sweet potato chip, or red potato chip, or whatever you want. Put a little powder sugar on, and now it becomes a sweet chip. And a little sweet cream. And you know, there's really nothing to it. So that's kind of a little simple 3-course meal that I think actually is very easy and simple to prepare in your own home. And it's not something that is very expensive. It's very, very inexpensive, as a matter of fact. I think, not that I'm trying to brag, I do think it tastes okay. I don't think you should not be afraid to serve that for your guests. So any questions about the dessert? Yes?
When do we eat?
Wait a minute, a few minutes. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be standing here on stage with Wolfgang Puck in the back and me in the front. You know, it feels good to be in front of him. But I just want to thank you, and I also want to say thank you to Joe and to our chef over here. I guess most of you are from Douglasville area, yeah. And we got from Douglasville, and we got Joe from Douglasville. So we got some nice little group of people up here. So I say thank you to them. I do want to close. I don't know if you all had an opportunity to see the convention center here. Maybe you have been passing by out in the street all along and never been inside. This is one of the most beautiful facilities there is. And we, Proof of the Pudding, have been operating here for, I think we're going on a couple of years, and we are very, very proud of this facility. And you should all be very proud of have this facility in your community. We do here at the convention center, we do anything from private meetings to weddings and whatever you want. We have the ability to do anything you want, and we love to work with you. We have a great staff here who is eager to make it work for everybody, and I just want to share that with you. And if you haven't seen the facility, I'm sure you are more than welcome to peek in and out. This is just part of the facility. You know, we take that wall down, and it keeps on going like that. We have Proof of the Pudding operate several kitchens in Atlanta area, and this kitchen back here is a state-of-the-art kitchen. I'm not afraid to say that. I'm always jealous when I get here because it's a beautiful kitchen. So whoever put this place together really deserve a big pat on the back. I know the mayor love it, and he has a lot of stuff to do with it. So if you see him out there in the city, say thank you to him for giving you all this wonderful facility. Thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you for coming. Thank you.